Well, the city of Seattle known for coffee, grunge music, and, of course, rain. And we're definitely going to get a heavy dose of the last of those three here tonight as you look inside a wet and wild Lumen Field. And he's up across the 25 and down at the 28. Stroud looks to throw on the first play. Open man is Kirk, complete. And they'll wind up getting this to the 37. Gain of 9.
Simple drag route here, lined up out left and tried to work his way back across the field. You probably saw me twitch there, partner, because I think he wanted the ball a little bit sooner. By the time he looked it in, defender was right on him.
On the ground, this is Joe Mixon. 7 yards there and a first down.
2nd and 1 and people want to run the football. This is where every back in the league is supposed to do exactly what we just saw there. Pick up the first down.
Stroud looking to throw. Got his man complete over the middle. That's Higgins.
It's a nice completion, a little bit of run after catch as well to create the yardage that they got. But it is so tough to cover that route, the drag route, because they run it at varying speeds. Because the key is to create hesitancy on the defender's part.
Always so empathetic for those DBs, aren't you? Still a few inches short of a first down as they come up now on 2nd down. Running left, it's Mixon. And he'll lose yardage here. Back at the 47. He winds up giving a yard back there, and now it's 3rd and 2.
Part of the thinking when you bring in extra tight ends, you're hoping that each of your guys gets those one-on-one blocks and creates a crease for your runner. You know what the converse is, though? You've got to win those one-on-one blocks, and when you don't, that's the result you end up with.
And they'll let their fullback try and push the pile. And he is going to have a Texans first down. At least it appears that way. And he got it by maybe the length of a football.
And how about that on 3rd down? So many different directions an offense can go. Throw it out wide to the receivers, get it to their speedy running back. They changed up everything and handed it to the fullback, and he surprised them all and picked up a first down.
Mixon with a first down carry. And some room to maneuver. And a pretty good burst right there as he'll take this down to the 33. That's good for a Texan first down, a 12-yard pickup. Plays like that will really help this offense settle in here on the road.
And when you go on the road, you also have to deal with the fans as well. And when you have those types of runs, that'll settle them back into their seats.
Back to Mixon on first down. And this time they were ready for him as they'll stop him right at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play there, 2nd down. Offensive line really didn't give him any room to maneuver on that play.
Things closed pretty quickly, didn't they? And how about the wrap-up at the end of that tackle? Left no doubt there would be no additional yardage to be found.
And Stroud now to throw. He'll drop this one down to Mixon. And they'll get this one to about the 20-yard line. Texans passing game in rhythm right now, picking up another first. And they're getting him involved early.
You feel like they saw something on tape, or they just have a sense with him because he's had a good week of practice or something in that area that they want him involved. Just as you said, they want him to touch it either in the running game or the passing game, but they must like the matchups they're getting.
From the gun to give to Mixon. Kobe Bryant makes the stop on that one.
Not a run that you're going to write home about, but still a good first down run. That's what an offense calls staying on schedule. 3 to 4 yards on first down, you're set up very well for the rest of the drive.
Now a 2nd and 6. Stroud to throw it. Over the middle, he gets it to Collins. And the Texans are going to be looking at 1st and goal as they move this down to the 4-yard line.
A lot of precision being shown on this opening drive. They've been methodical, they've been crisp, and as a reward, they're going to be set up with an early 1st and goal.
1st and goal, a chance for an early statement here on the road. Chubb. Touchdown, Houston.
Well, just about an ideal start to this one offensively, because on the road, you want to make sure you quiet the home crowd early. And how do they do it? Nice march to start things off, let the run game find its footing early. That drive certainly checked a lot of boxes, and they finished it off with a touchdown run.
Footing always a concern, but the extra point's up and good. And it's now a 7-0 game. So after the touchdown, here's Fairbairn now to kick it away. And they'll start this drive just across the 30. Pretty nice work on the return. Here's Darnold. Incomplete.
No receivers open, so he was forced to put that one into Puget Sound. That's a great job defensively blanketing those receivers, and ultimately, a smart idea by him just to get the ball out of there.
So after the incompletion on first, now 2nd and 10. Here's Darnold. He's got his big tight end, Fant. They do get a couple, but they'll be left staring at a 3rd and 8 coming up. We'll see what kind of mindset they have here offensively after giving up the touchdown on the opening drive.
And based on our time with them, prior to this game, I feel like they've got a good mindset going in. In fact, the discussion that we had with the coaching staff was, we may give up some points in this game, so our offense has to be ready each and every time to either equal or try and get us ahead and try and keep us ahead. This is their chance to respond to that first touchdown given up.
Now that's to the left sideline and incomplete.
That was their first 3rd down try of the game, and clearly something was off in the execution of that play. Good news, they've got a whole game left to clean that up and start clicking on those key 3rd down throws.
The Seahawks will call on Michael Dixon on 4th down to punt this one away. Fair catch called. It's taken in right at the 20-yard line. Houston's offense already at the line, set to get going. They have to be thrilled with that first drive that got them the touchdown. Now they'll be looking to make it a 2-score advantage here on the road.
And they spent all week in practice, in meetings, talking about taking an early advantage. Being the road team, going up a score, that takes the crowd out of the game and puts some doubt in the minds of their opponents. Well, sometimes as a running back, you've got to be able to improvise when the hole's not where you expect it to be. But in this case, there wasn't any improvisation that he could do that was going to work. Kind of like if you're trying to be a comedian on open mic night at the Improv and you run into a tough crowd.
So 5 yards here, 5 on the play. And now we've got a 3rd and 3.
And I think as he began this throw, you saw that the area was congested, but he has a lot of confidence in his arm, and he fits that one in there nicely. They pick up the catch, not much yardage afterwards.
They'll come up now 3rd and 3. Oh, and the hard count might have got him. This might be a 1st down. And that'll be a free 5 yards for the offense.
Just like a tennis match, that's just an unforced error. Stay alert, don't jump early, and give them free yardage.
And they get him down, but not before he takes it across the 40-yard line. They picked up 5 yards last time. Now they double it and get 10 here.
Well, as a coach, you absolutely love seeing your offense find their rhythm early, and that's exactly what we've seen so far. They had a touchdown on their opening drive, and now they connect here for another nice gain for a 1st down. This offense is moving the ball well, exactly as he drew it up in practice.
And some nifty running here as he'll take this across midfield and down to the 47. They get 10 more there, and I believe that'll be enough for another 1st down. It will. Well, they're making an effort to get the ground game going tonight. So far, it's working.
I like what we're seeing from the offensive line. They seem to have the leverage going, and they're controlling things and reestablishing the line of scrimmage, moving that defensive front backwards, but also like what the runner's giving us, too. It appears that he's been waiting all day long to get out here and take off.
Another nice gain, 16 yards there, and a 1st down again. And defensively, they were in zone coverage there. Do you have to be a little careful? You're losing playing against a good quarterback like he is to not play too much zone?
Yeah, you have to be careful about how much time you're giving up. I think it's a good point you just brought up. So maybe if you still want to play zone, you go to a zone blitz scheme. and you can drop anyone out of your defensive front, defensive end, defensive tackle. It doesn't matter. You just exchange someone to bring more pressure towards the quarterback and still try and cover downfield.
Well, that tight end position, it just seems to continue to evolve every year in the NFL.
Yeah, you're getting really terrific athletes. A lot of them maybe were wide receivers at one point. They continue to give you speed, great hands, and big bodies, which make them excellent targets for quarterbacks.
And this one is going to be off the mark, too far out in front. Defensively, celebration time because they finally forced an incompletion. He was perfect throwing the ball to that point.
Yeah, but from his viewpoint, they didn't force the incompletion. He just missed. That's how hot he is right now, and that's how he wants to continue to throw the ball.
From the gun on third down, here's Stroud. And able to find Kirk complete. And they'll have it in the red zone before he crosses over out of bounds. 11 more yards there, and this methodical drive continues.
That's a play that will likely be forgotten when you talk about big moments in this game. But plays like this are critical to keep drives going. And if points result, we'll call this play significant.
Here goes Stroud again. And one more time, here's Kirk. And that's good for a pickup of 10 yards. And that'll leave him with a second and just a few inches left. Now Stroud. And completes it to Kirk over the middle. It's a 3-yard pickup, and that sets up a 1st and goal. They'll give it to Mixon. And he's going to press this one forward as they stop him right around the 1. It'll be a gain of 5 there as they move closer. It's 2nd and goal. When we talk about being on schedule, I think they're on schedule after that run, getting it right down there on the doorstep.
Maybe even a little bit ahead because now the defense can't dictate with pressure. They're guessing about where you're going to go. I might come right back at them with the same play, the same set, and see if they can stop them.
And he's in. Touchdown, Houston. C.J. Stroud. A touchdown run there from a yard out. And the Texans lead this now 13-0 here in the opening quarter of the ball game. Another impressive drive, so they're 2 for 2, 2 touchdowns. Charles, a great start to this ball game for them.
And one of the words that's really worked its way into our lexicon is stacking. They've stacked momentum each time out, and not only on offense. Between those touchdowns, defense held, forced a punt to get the ball back, and they played awfully well in this one. Both sides playing at optimum level.
So after the touchdown, here's Fairbairn now to kick it away. And a decent return out to the 27-yard line. Coming to the line here to begin their next drive, the Seahawks offense. They find themselves in a good-sized hole here, and a good-sized hole early on in this game as they come up on 1st down. And he's going to get a solid gain of 9 before being brought down, 2nd and right at a yard.
Well, it's time for them to be good teammates right here, and what I mean by that is possess the ball for a little while, get at least 2 first downs, give their defense a chance to settle down a little bit after they give up a touchdown.
Just need a yard here, 2nd and 1. First carry here for Ken Walker. 7 yards there and a 1st down. Well, you're down early. How do you get back in the game? Maybe establish the run. I think they're trying to do that.
Now, I'm with you on that one, and what I like about the message is that there's no panic from the head coach. He's already told his offensive coordinator, let's run the football, let's get things settled down a little bit and find our way back into this game.
14-0 the score. This is the NFL on EA Sports. Second quarter now from Seattle, and it is the Seahawks with the football here, as they've got it with a 1st and 10. Up the middle they run. It's Walker fighting him off. And he's across the 45. It'll be 2nd down.
Well, that's just a pile of bodies there, and that's when you kind of find out who's a tough guy, right? Who can stand up and make a play. It was only a 3-yard run, but for both sides, they had to walk away from that feeling like, okay, I can stand up when the going gets tough in here.
And they'll come up 2nd and 7. And now whistles and a flag, and I think we got a jump here. So 5 yards there as one of the big guys up front moved.
And in a 4-3 front, you've got the 2 defensive tackles right near the football. I know there's a lot of movement around there, but they're always taught to have one eye on the football. Apparently, that didn't happen.
And this time he's able to take it down to the 42. 7 yards there and a 1st down.
That's a pretty play there coming out of the backfield, but as that back, you've got to be conscious of making sure you're securing the football. When you get out in open field, sometimes you get a little loose with it as you're trying to get up ahead of steam. Make sure you keep it close to your body because those defenders are trying to punch it free. He does a nice job there protecting the ball and picking up a 1st down.
And that is incomplete. He couldn't hold on through the contact. Brings up 2nd down. Some of the fans here don't seem too happy about what we've seen in this first half.
No, not at all, and I understand why. They've looked lethargic, out of sync, and it shows on the scoreboard.
Now a 2nd and 10. Now to the ground. Here's Walker. And the stop here will come at the 38-yard line. 4 yards the gain, and it'll bring up a 3rd down.
On any running play that's called, they're always hoping that it's going to break big and go the distance. But when you get a nice gain like that, you're able to do so many things anyway. You can come back and run essentially the same play again, continue to move the ball on the ground, or you can decide to throw the ball now because usually you have the defense back on its heels.
Pass taken in by his big tight end. And he is out of bounds, but not before he's inside the 30. 12 yards there as they keep this drive rolling. It's another 1st down.
Yeah, these are the types of plays they're going to need to hit on if they're going to get back into this game. It hasn't been the greatest of first halves, but this is a nice throw here on 3rd down, and they keep the drive going.
In motion goes the tight end. Off of play action, Darnold. And he's going to go down here, a sack. They push him back to the 34. That was Will Anderson getting home and finishing the play.
Well, that's a big defensive stop there, and it takes away a lot of the momentum from the offense coming off that big completion the prior snap. Give big credit to the defense for bouncing back.
So 2nd and long, and got to be careful not to fall out of field goal range. Up the middle, here's Walker. He's able to get 4 back on the run, but now they'll have to find something here on 3rd and about 14.
Well, if you're a football guy, that's a pretty run because everyone is in sync right there. Obviously, the guy carrying the ball, but how about the people up front? Leverage, athleticism, they created some nice space for him.
So here's a 3rd and 14. Darnold now to throw. He's got his target. That's complete. And they move this all the way down to the 9. They're able to convert on 3rd down, and that sets up a 1st and goal.
A very important 3rd down conversion right there because when you're trailing and find yourself this deep in enemy territory, the kicker's not even part of your thought process. You got to make it pay off with 6. Nice connection right there to set up 1st and goal.
Now it's Darnold. And it's caught. That's good for a gain of 6, 2nd and goal. To throw is Darnold. And it's caught on the deflection. And this is going to be a touchdown. They went empty backfield, all their weapons out wide, so there really was no secret here to what they were going to do.
No secret, but they still had to execute it, and they still had to protect the guy throwing the ball because oftentimes when you empty the backfield, people bring pressure at you. They managed to hold in there and successfully complete the touchdown pass.
Extra point up and through by Myers, and that'll make our score 14-7. After the touchdown, here's Myers to boot it away. And able to get this out to the 25. The Texans offense ready to go here for their next drive. And thus far, the weather has not slowed this offense down one bit. They've looked good so far in the first half.
They certainly have. And think back to our meeting with the head coach. And we asked him because we saw the forecast for this game, didn't we? We said, hey, have you prepared for this? And he talked about the different drills that they've done in adverse conditions, the wet ball drills, things of that nature. He said, I don't think it's going to slow us down much. We tend to handle it pretty well, and he's been right.
They'll come up now 2nd and 4 from the 31. Throwing now is Stroud. Throwing over the middle, and it's incomplete.
I didn't like the look of that play right from the beginning. I thought he should have seen the coverage that was there, tried to force it in. That one, he's fortunate, just fell incomplete.
Now they face a 3rd down and 4 after that incompletion on 2nd down. Back to throw. Here's Stroud. A quick throw there is incomplete.
That could be the stop this defense needed to get them back on track. They've been pretty well dissected by the offense here in the first half. After that possession, now they know that they can compete with this offense.
Here's Tommy Townsend on to punt. Back deep is Steven Sims. This is taken at the 23. A 7-yard return following a punt of 45 yards. And it'll be Seahawk football, 1st and 10. Here's the Seattle offense ready to get this drive underway. For this offense, Charles, remember the last time they were out here, marched it nearly the full length of the football field, and a lot of the attack went through the air, so now they're seeing if they can duplicate that performance.
Okay, if I show my age a little bit, partner, because I can hear my high school coach, John Ford. I can hear his voice in my head. Laddie, when you put the ball in the air, 3 things can happen, and 2 of them are bad. But the way the game's being played now, this is just part of what they do, so I don't think they should change anything at all. They've been dominant. Keep throwing it around.
5 yards on 1st down, but now just a 1-yard pickup there on 2nd. The offense on 3rd down tonight, they've been okay. 2 for 3 thus far. This is 3rd and 4. Darnold. He had a man open, but he missed him, and it's incomplete.
Well, how about the coverage we just saw him break out on 3rd down? Dime defense, blanketed the field with extra defensive backs and speed, unable to find an open hole to complete that pass.
On 4th down, ready to punt, Michael Dixon. 46 on his first kick. This one in that neighborhood as well. And no return on this one as the fair catch is signaled for and taken. Houston's offense already at the line, set to get going. No points last time out. They were forced to punt, if you remember, but no time to dwell on that. They've still got the lead here and a chance to add to that here. 1st and 10 as this new drive starts. And he's taken down right at the 45-yard line. 36 yards on the play.
Oftentimes now, offenses aren't nearly as precise as days gone by. They just tell receivers, find an open patch of grass and let the quarterback find you. And that's exactly what they did on that play. First with the pass through the air, nice chunk of yardage there, and then additional pickup with his legs after the catch.
Down to the 42, 2nd down. Here's 2nd and 7. Option right, here's Stroud. And holding it may be the wrong decision as he stopped in the backfield. That 2nd down play nets a -4. And not a lot of success to be found there.
Oh, you got that right, partner, because if you're trying to make guys miss about 10 yards or so downfield, that's a pretty good play. But if you've got to do it in your own backfield, I consider that a problem. That doesn't work too well.
Here's Stroud. That's going to be caught by Kirk. So they decline it, and they choose to not give him that down back.
And I think that's the key to everything there. They didn't give up any yardage even on the completed pass. Don't give them an extra down in order to try and pick up a first.
They'll run with Walker to begin the drive. And he'll be taken down at the 18. Give him 5 on the carry there, and it'll be second down.
Nice satisfying run on first down for the offense, picking up 5, which means defensively, the thought process is entirely different. You don't want to panic, but at the same time, you're saying to each other, we've got to tighten this down. We can't give up gains like that.
Sticking with Walker on second down. And he is met in his tracks behind the line of scrimmage. A loss on that play, and now third down gets tougher. 3rd and 6.
This defense has really flown around in the first half. They've gotten to the ball carrier before they can really get started. Offense got to come up with something else in order to try and get this running game going.
Back to throw, Darnold. He's going to float this one deep right side. And that will be incomplete. Well, they weren't scared to let it fly, but it falls to the ground and brings up 4th down.
Zone coverage there, and they were playing deep. That makes it obviously a little bit harder to run by guys. And that time, there was not much of a window to get the ball in there, and it winds up incomplete.
Here's Michael Dixon now to punt. Fair catch taken just inside the 40-yard line. The Texans offense ready to go here for their next drive. Play action. Here's Stroud. And that's caught inside the 35. And he's brought down after a very nice gain. A good pickup there, 26 yards. Well, we know he's got the speed there. He needed the speed and the hands. A great catch.
And because of that speed, you have to respect it as a defender. So you have to either play off or make sure you're somehow in contact with him, and he's able to do exactly what you said. Use the speed to his advantage and go up and get the football. That's a big-time play right there.
16 more on that one and another first down.
Not only have they completed a couple on this drive, but they peeled off some pretty good chunks of yardage, too.
Absolutely. Great start. 2 nice plays in the pass game. Now can they continue to feed off that? Coming up to the line, and they will need to run another play here before the 2-minute warning. Mixon on the toss right. And he'll take this one in for a Texans touchdown. 18 yards for Joe Mixon. And the Texans go up by 2 touchdowns. Well, they ran the toss, trusting he had the speed to get to the edge, and he did.
And there really wasn't any doubt about that, because the scouting report told you that this guy could flat out run. When you give him a little bit of space and a chance to get there, he usually does.
Extra point by Fairbairn, up and good. And it's now 21-7. So after the touchdown, here's Fairbairn now to kick it away. The lane opens here. He's past the 30. Coming to the line here to begin their next drive, the Seahawks offense. And this not an easy situation. You're down early, in the elements, you're on the road. How do you get the mojo back?
Well, one thing is to remember that as an offensive player, you have a much better idea of what you're trying to accomplish and where you're trying to go than the defender. So in this case, because you know it, you can make your cuts with a little more decisiveness, maybe a second fake, some double moves, things of that nature, to go ahead and try and put some pressure on the defense.
Now Darnold. That's to the sideline and incomplete.
Well, he left no doubt about that one, because even though he hasn't left the pocket, he's got a receiver in the area, so it's not grounding, even though there was no way that ball was going to be caught.
They head to the line facing a 3rd and 7 following the incompletion on second down. Now back to throw. This one goes underneath to Walker. Now the Texans will burn the first of their timeouts as they'll head to the sideline and talk over what to do next. Now here's Michael Dixon as he's on to punt for the 4th time tonight. .43 yards on the punt, return of 4, and the Texans will take over. Houston's offense already at the line, set to get going. They have been red hot, sometimes white hot here in this first half. They're just looking to add to that total right now.
And this has to serve as a reminder to myself because so many times I get wrapped up in the play calling, how they've sequenced things, how it's run. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's still execution. Those guys out on the field, and right now they are locked in and really looking good.
They'll try to continue to be locked in here as we get ready to approach halftime. He's got Higgins over the middle, and he's got it past the 30 before he's hit and dropped. That's good for a Texan first down, a 12-yard pickup.
Good strong throw and catch right there, and so far in this game, the alleys have been open for them to get completions, and they're taking advantage of it.
Creeping up on a minute to play in this first half. They'll set up the screen here to Mixon. And the result here, a pickup of 8. Leaves him with 2 to go on 2nd down.
And good yardage there on 1st down because sometimes all you need to do on the screen is get one key block. That might set your man free, and that was pretty good pursuit to the football defensively, or it could have gone for more.
2nd and a couple. Stroud off the play fake. Open man is Higgins. He'll take this to the other side of midfield before going out of bounds. Texans passing game in rhythm right now, picking up another first.
2nd and short, that's a rundown, so it's definitely a good time to go play action if you're feeling it. And they do so and pick up a 1st down.
Stroud. He gets this in the hands of Mixon. Now the Texans will use one of their 2 remaining timeouts as they stop it with 16 seconds to go in half number 1. From the midfield stripe, they'll look to throw. That's complete. It's Collins. And he's going to be out of bounds, but not before he takes it inside the 40. A 14-yard gain there as they look to improve this 14-point lead.
What an intelligent play as he found open grass and uncovered quickly. A nice clutch play to move the chains. The defense, they've got to do a much better job of accounting for these shorter routes.
This will be incomplete. Oh, a dream chance for a D lineman, but he couldn't pull that one in.
It sort of looks like they still have some fight in them on this series because it seemed like things were headed for the red zone. But if this defense gets 2 more stops, they can keep them out of that area.
After the incomplete pass, here now is 2nd and 10. And Stroud now to throw. He finds his running back, Mixon. And he'll lose yardage on the play back at the 37-yard line. And we're going to get a timeout with 2 seconds remaining in the 2nd quarter. So with 2 ticks left here in the half, on is the field goal unit. This from 54 yards away. And this one is no good. He missed it. And this will remain a 2-touchdown game. First half in the books. You're watching the NFL on EA Sports. Forecast calling for more of the same. The rain set to continue as we are underway in the 2nd half. And able to take it past the 25 and up to the 28-yard line. Here's the Seattle offense ready to get this drive underway. Well, the first half, they struggled a little bit to keep pace offensively, CD, down 2 scores here. So how do they make some changes coming out of the locker room?
Well, they've studied what they did in the first half. They've seen what the defense has thrown at them. Now they want to have a plan of attack against it. So you come out, you're not going to get all the points back on one drive, but get started on it. Start chopping into that lead, and maybe it'll inspire your defense to help out as well.
Sticking with Walker on second down. And to the 42-yard line here and brought down there. 4 yards the pickup, first down.
Let's face it, when you have a guy who can pick up those types of runs and keep the chains moving or stay ahead of the chains, you're making everyone else on offense happy because you're opening things up to allow for a whole lot of different play calls.
Here's Darnold. Setting up the screen here. This is Walker. The first down screen pass, good for 5.
Boy, that one was well read defensively, and this is all about diagnosis as a safety and being decisive because he saw it setting up in front of him, able to knife through there and make the play.
From the 47, it's 2nd and 5. A play fake, and it's Darnold. And this is incomplete. These guys have punted 4 times already, and they're staring at a 5th, barring a conversion here on 3rd down. Here's Darnold. And that is incomplete.
Well, if they have any designs on getting back into this football game in the second half, they're going to need to be much sharper offensively than they were on this opening possession. Not much happening here, and it'll lead to a 4th down.
Now here's Michael Dixon as he'll come on for his 5th kick of the night. "35 yards that time on the punt, and the Texans will take over with a 1st and 10. The Texans offense ready to go here for their next drive. Here's Joe Mixon as they start on the ground, and he can only manage to get a couple. 2nd and 8 coming up.
That was a pretty good job defensively to hold them to a 2-yard run, but I've got to think this offensive line, they're asking their quarterback for a different type of a run, one that they rely on, one they have confidence in, one they feel like they can block.
This is 2nd and 8. Stroud out of the gun here. That's going to be brought in by Higgins. And past the 40 before he's out of bounds. His 5th catch tonight, and it's good for a 1st down.
I'll tell you what, a lot of those mid-range throws have been available because sometimes teams get too concerned about the deep ball and they leave too much space in front of them, and these guys have been taking advantage so far.
A shotgun snap to Stroud. They'll let this go deep for Collins. Touchdown, Texans. Nico Collins, 57 yards. And the Texans take a 3-touchdown lead.
And that's a drive that makes everyone happy on that bench because they accomplish exactly what they set out to do. Take care of the football, eat up a little clock, end up in the end zone. Now they've got a cushion for the rest of the game. So they didn't just help themselves offensively, they helped their defense out as well.
Fairbairn good with the extra point. And the lead now to 3 touchdowns at 21. So after the touchdown, here's Fairbairn now to kick it away. And he'll be stopped up at the 25. Coming to the line here to begin their next drive, the Seahawks offense. They're down 3 touchdowns to this point, needing to put something together as they have it 1st and 10. And he can only manage to get a couple. 2nd and 8 coming up.
Defenses always talk about earning the right to rush the passer on 3rd down. And you know what offenses want? Win 1st down so they can set things up for themselves better.
And that wasn't helpful there. Not a big impact on 1st down. They'll break the huddle, come up on 2nd and 8 at the 27-yard line. Sticking with Walker on 2nd down. 56 yards rushing for him now as he's carried it 13 times.
That's a good, nice, crisp run for a first down. I wonder if the defense might have been loosened up a little bit, maybe anticipating a pass instead of the run that they got.
So from the 36 now, 1st and 10. Walker with another carry. And down he goes at the 45 after a pickup of 9.
That was a good run, and it got to the second level. And what I mean by that is that's where the linebackers usually play. First level being the defensive front, last level being the secondary. But the strong safety position ended up making the tackle. And oftentimes we call them a hybrid. Combination defensive back, combination linebacker. We saw the linebacker make the stop.
Got an open man. It's Valdez-Scantling. And he's going to be out of bounds, but not before he takes it inside the 40. They get 17 on that one. Move the chains. First down, Seahawks.
And you start to think if it's going to happen for these guys, it's got to start with this drive. Down 3 scores, they need to start making some inroads. And that'll help the cause there as they pick up good yardage and a first down.
Walker now on 1st and 10. And he will score. Touchdown, Seattle. 38 yards for Kenneth Walker. And the Seahawks are able to make some inroads here to that deficit. So there you go. They needed a big play, and they got one there on the touchdown run.
And that was a very important drive. Of course, they all are when you're trailing in the second half. But what I really liked, they didn't panic. They knew they still had time to run the football and keep playing their game.
Myers connects on the PAT, and that cuts the lead to 28-14. And after the touchdown, here's Myers to boot it away. Oh, a good-looking return set up here. Houston's offense already at the line, set to get going. Their lead down to 2 scores after the touchdown a moment ago as they start with a 1st and 10. And he's going to take this ahead for right around 3 yards, but no more than that. 2nd down.
Look, all any running back wants is a little bit of room, a little bit of space in order to maneuver. But he also understands how difficult it is for his offensive line up front. So if they give him any space, he realizes his job to make more out of it than what they give him. Picks up 3 on that carry.
He'll get about 3 as he's brought down right around the 42. Third and 4. Stroud looking to throw. Oh, the ball comes out on the hit, but they'll say it's incomplete.
Well, that's a good piece of quarterbacking right there because he certainly felt the pressure coming. The alternative, getting sacked for the first time. He didn't like that option at all. Did a nice job saving yardage by throwing that one away.
The Texans send the punter out as he's on here to punt it away. And the fair catch is taken at about the 13-yard line here. Here's the Seattle offense ready to get this drive underway. And that last drive, it was all about the ground game, ground and pound.
And I don't care how we're playing the game these days, offensive linemen still want to fire out and smack the guy opposite them and move the football on the ground. They feel better about that. That's what they want to do. That's how they want to play, and that's how they got it done.
Yeah, and they got it for a touchdown last drive. Let's see what happens here. Sticking with Walker on 2nd down. And he'll go down just shy of the 25 at the 24-yard line. Rushing for him now on 17 carries.
Like it. I know they're down a couple of scores, but the running game worked in that situation. I would continue to go in that direction.
On the counter, it's Walker. And he fights forward for a modest 2-yard gain, 2nd down.
Offense looked a little bit discouraged after that play, shaking their heads a bit, looking at each other. I think they thought they'd get a lot more out of that call. Sometimes you do get the running lane you want. And other times, the defensive front, they just break up the play before it can get going.
And going right back to Walker. And he's got room. And he'll take this to the other side of midfield before going out of bounds. A big hitter there, a first down gain of 26 yards. Pretty explosive run on that inside handoff, and when you're a runner of his caliber, you don't need a big crease.
You really don't, but also what we're seeing is an offensive line that's taking charge at the point of attack, aren't we? Not only are they controlling the initial contact, they're actually utilizing what they call the strain the next 2 to 3 seconds to continue to move people.
And not a whole lot of room to operate there on the first down run. He gets maybe 3.
This drive is pretty clear. Almost feels like old school fundamentals, doesn't it? Want to impose their will on the defense. What's that, 5 straight runs?
Yeah, 5 straight carries to start this drive. And like you said, the way it's working, they may just stick with it. 2nd and 7. And they'll try the air now with Darnold. And it's incomplete, broken up. But there is a flag down. Let's see what that's about. Now they face a 2nd and long following the holding penalty. Straight ahead, Walker. And for one of the first times tonight, he's going to be held up at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play this time, and it'll be a 3rd and long situation coming up. He's having a big game running the football, but that one will hurt the yards per carry a little bit.
Yeah, but the average he's got so far, that's the type of average he wants to take with him to contract negotiations, doesn't he?
Walker with a grab, left side. And he'll be brought down just shy of midfield at the 49-yard line. 3 yards, all they could muster there, and it'll bring up 4th down.
Boy, that was certainly well-read defensively, and the key to any screenplay is space to work, and there was none to be found there.
Michael Dixon, as he'll come on to kick for a 6th time tonight. And he'll get off a fairly short kick here as this is toward the sideline. And this will be up to the ruling of the side judge here. He says it crossed out of bounds at the 16-yard line. The Texans offense ready to go here for their next drive. This crew had to punt last time they had the ball, but when you've got a lead like this, you content to play the field position game?
You are to an extent, especially if you like your defense, because you have the lead, you've been controlling the game. But why put them in a tougher spot? You want to get out there and get something done on offense and maybe take command of this game yourself.
Now Stroud. And he is going to lose yardage here. So that'll go as a 4-yard loss on the play. And they're going to face an uphill battle here on 3rd and long. Well, if you're going to turn things around in a game like this, Charles, those are the kind of plays that you need.
And I just love the way that defense rallied to the football on that one. They got the completion, but he was smothered behind the line of scrimmage. And when you make tackles like that, your whole defense is going to be fired up. Really nice play getting to the ball.
Pass taken in by his big tight end. And he'll go out near midfield at the 49. That was no 3rd and 2. That was 3rd and 16, but they get the conversion anyway.
Another big play right there, and this is where, as an offense, you can really put the hammer down. You've got a double-digit lead, but those other guys, they've been hanging around. A touchdown here could put this game out of reach, and that's a strong step towards getting it done.
Over the middle, he gets it to Collins. And he's got this down to the 35. Add this game to the last one, and they moved the ball over 50 yards in 2 plays.
That's another beautiful throw right there. It gets it to his man right in stride, and I think that throw kind of exemplifies what we've seen from this offense throughout this game. They've been in rhythm, they've been sharp, they've been on it, and they pick up another first down there.
Over the middle, complete. It's Higgins. That'll go for a gain of 7, and that's going to bring up 2nd down. Stroud will look to throw once more. A short one going to be taken in here by Schultz. And that'll wind up moving the chains again as the tackle's going to be made at the Seahawks 14. 1 quarter remains here as we wrap up the week on a Monday night. We'll return with more after this. You're watching the NFL on EA Sports. Back now in Seattle, Washington. It's the Texans in control of the football and leading this game as well as we start the 4th. Stroud working out of the gun. Got a man, and he hits him in stride. And the Texans are going to have a 1st and goal coming up as the tackle made at the 3-yard line.
It's all pretty simple sometimes, isn't it? Go where the defenders are not, and he does exactly that. Makes a nice catch to move the chains. Defense, got to find a better way of accounting for the shorter routes that are being run against them.
Mixon. Going to be stopped before he can get moving forward as he'll lose a couple back to the 5-yard line. That's going to go as a loss of 1 on 1st down.
If this was boxing, you think maybe they would have thought about stopping this one because this defense has been bruised, it's been battered, but this is why they keep the fight going, right? They just got done with a really nice play showing they still got a little bit left, don't they?
Haven't had many plays that they can clip, put in the film room, and smile about, but hey, there's one.
Clip and save.
This is caught. Touchdown. Dalton Schultz. A 5-yard touchdown. And the Texans have put this one to bed here in the 4th quarter. Well, I've heard you use the term put-away drive, and that right there seemed like the definition of a put-away drive.
Yeah, it certainly just pops right up out of the book, doesn't it? Because up 2 scores already, just wanted to possess the football, keep converting and picking up 1st downs, and if the drive ends in 3 points, that's terrific. If it ends in a touchdown, fantastic.
So after the touchdown, here's Fairbairn now to kick it away. And all in all, a pretty solid return. Nearly got it to the 35. They'll mark him down officially at the 34. Coming to the line here to begin their next drive, the Seahawks offense. And this will be incomplete. Physical play on the football there, and it's 2nd down. Another pass attempt, another incompletion. You figure defensively, you're in the 4th quarter here. You've held the team under 100 yards passing. You've done your job.
Especially in today's NFL, which is truly a pass-first league.
Now it's Darnold. And he's going to have to eat this one as down he goes. Multiple defenders getting home there for a loss of 11.
I remember throughout my career hearing defensive coaches always say, guys, you've got to earn the right to rush the passer. Well, they put themselves in a great spot with this big lead, and they know they've got to throw the ball.
These pass rushers have to be salivating. It is pin your ears back time indeed. Now on 3rd and long, they'll look to throw. That is incomplete.
That's coverage you'd expect to see in a tie game late. Not in a lopsided game like this. They are not letting up.
All right, they're going to try and keep hope alive here on 4th down. They're going for it. 4th down, and for Darnold, it's desperation time. And this one is incomplete. Here's Stroud. All right, rifles one, and that's going to be intercepted. Picked off by Ernest Jones. And the Seahawks are going to take over at their own 11-yard line. After the interception, here's Darnold. That ball is caught. Marquez Valdez-Scantling. And he'll be taken down, but not before he gets this football out shy of the 30 to the 29.
Well, I can put my defensive cap on right now, and I know they're saying don't give up any big plays now. They've controlled this game throughout, and all they want to do is see it through to the end. I think they let their guard down a little bit with that last completion. Sometimes when you're trying not to give up bigger plays, you don't react as fast as you should on other throws.
And 26 big yards on that one. It's another 1st down. A 3-score game here late. You can probably rule out the comeback, but certainly some kind of a moral victory to be had if they can get a few more points to close things out. And to that end, a nice pass play there to push things downfield.
Yeah, and we know in this league, a loss is a loss, and no one wants anything to count as a moral victory or, boy, something that feels a little bit cheap. But if they trim that lead down to just 2 scores, that's still a benefit to this squad. And not a common sight, at least on this drive. A momentary setback, though, for this passing game that has been moving well this series. Good thing for them, though. Still 2 more downs to connect and try and pick up another 1st down.
Throwing again is Darnold. And that one incomplete, but now a penalty flag coming in late. That might be PI. After the penalty, a fresh set of downs. It's 1st and 10. To throw is Darnold. That'll be caught by Kupp. Gave a glimpse of his power, but not a whole lot of space. Down at the 30. Hard to believe his first catch of the game defensively. They bottled him up. That's why they're well on their way to victory.
Put your best cover guy on him and then change the coverages behind him throughout the game. Brackets, double, zone, man, you name it. Make sure he gets a lot of angles.
They'll toss this out right to Walker. And maybe a measure of revenge there. He's had his way in this one, but this time they get him behind the line. They'll come up now on a 2nd and long after the hold. Darnold now to throw. This is Fant on the short completion. Call it a gain of 12, but of course not a first down due to the previous penalty.
Let's just break this down and make it pretty simple. Key to the drag route, letting the play develop, finding the hole in the defense, and giving your athlete, yes, athlete, a chance to make something happen once he has the ball in his hands.
And the Seahawks on 3rd down. Not so hot. 2 for 9 to this point. This is 3rd and 4. Now Darnold. Oh, he had him. He was open, but he couldn't get it to him. It's incomplete. Another incomplete pass there. We've seen a bevy of those. This secondary, they've been pretty good, haven't they?
They certainly have. They've allowed the 1 touchdown through the air, and they're going to be upset about that later when they watch the game tape. But other than that, they've been absolutely rock solid.
On 4th down, Darnold. That is caught, and he's out of bounds. Almost gets to the 10. No reason not to try it there, and they do indeed convert on 4th. 4th down, trailing in the 4th quarter. They felt compelled to go for it, and they got it.
Well, I'd look down at my play sheet, and what I would find, plays that have been successful throughout the game that have worked at the distance you need, and that's exactly what they got done.
Now we've got whistles and movement up front. I think this is against Seattle. And they're going to lose some on this play. Being knocked back to the 18. That's going to go as a loss of a yard, and it'll be 2nd down.
When a draw works, it can be a thing of beauty. But when it doesn't, oh, it can be ugly. And in this case, loss of yardage ugly.
From the gun, it's Walker. Able to fight for about 4 yards there to the 13.
Well, that call makes sense because they've been throwing it well on this drive, and once again, they show passing formation, showing the shotgun. Then they ran out of it. That was a nice play by them defensively, though, to hold it to a short gain.
And looking at Houston defensively, they've got a dime set. 6 DBs on 3rd. Back to throw, Darnold. Looking left side, and he's got a man. That's Walker. And he will not be able to get the first as he can get this only down to the 5. A gain of 9, not enough, and it's 4th down.
Brandon, it certainly looked like they had that play defended well, but it still almost worked. Got it to the running back. He wound up getting really good yardage out of it, but it was 3rd and long, and they were able to rally and stop him before he could get to the marker.
Steps away to his left. And he'll be taken down, but he does have 1st down yardage. 4 yards there as they let him out of the pocket, and he got enough for the 1st.
Well, it certainly appears to me that the defensive guys are starting to look a little bit tired while he still has some fresh legs. Not the biggest gain we've seen on a scramble, but still some positive yardage on a play that initially looked like a sure win for the defense.
Walker will score. Touchdown, Seattle. Well, he finishes off the drive with a touchdown run, Charles. Remember, he also had a catch on this drive as well.
And that's what running backs want to be in today's NFL, a complete back. 3 downs, stay on the field, run it and catch it, and he gets it done.
Extra point up and through by Myers. And the lead will be cut down to 14. And after the touchdown, here's Myers to boot it away. And out a little across the 25 to the 27. Houston's offense already at the line, set to get going. Well, don't look now, but they've got a little bit of a battle on their hands again. Back to a two-score game. The interception that led to a touchdown. You'd have to think they're a little more careful here if they do indeed try to throw the football.
Yeah, and I was a little surprised by the last throw. You know, that type of throw with this type of a game, I'm going to be very careful about it. Maybe the only throw you make is maybe a toss to your halfback or something like that. Otherwise, take care of the thing and finish this bad boy off.
Mixon will try the right side. And he'll take this up only to about his 18-yard line. And they only get a yard back there. They'll be left with a 3rd down and long.
Brandon, we talk all the time about those hybrid players, guys who could do more than one thing. And I think if you're playing strong safety in the NFL today, you are a true hybrid. Part linebacker, part cover guy.
And coming up, sticking his nose in the mess there and making a nice play defensively. And the throw there going to be incomplete.
As a defensive back, you have some weapons at your disposal that we don't often talk about. And you can read the receiver's eyes, you can read his hands, and you know that the arrival of the ball is imminent, and that allows you to make a play on it and oftentimes knock it away.
The Texans send the punter out as the drive goes backwards, so he's on to punt it away. And a fair catch taken back near about the 35, 36-yard line. Here's the Seattle offense ready to get this drive underway. Their defense was able to force the punt. That's the good news, but this is still a two-score game, and they need points on this drive and in a relatively quick manner. That play going for 16 yards to start the drive, 1st down.
All right, this is the time of the game where they're down a couple of scores, and they've really got to get some yards in chunks, and they know the defense doesn't want to give those up, but they've got to find a way to take them anyway.
Now the question is, can they string a few of those together? Darnold. Eluding the pressure right. Able to make something out of nothing there. 17 yards and a 1st down. Here's Darnold. Flushed out right. And he can't find a receiver, and he's brought down. Will Anderson, his 2nd sack of the night. And on that one, the protection just broke down.
You've got to have that leverage, don't you? We always talk about low man wins in the running game for an offensive lineman versus a defensive lineman. It's essentially the same thing in pass protection. Get lower than that defensive lineman so that you can keep your balance and keep him away from your guy trying to throw the football.
So the completion results there in 9 yards, and it brings up 3rd and 5 now. Looking to throw. Buying time, and he will not make it back to the line of scrimmage as he's going to be taken down. And Danielle Hunter, he's the one who gets in there and brings him down to the ground.
Oh, you can just see it in their body language. They're starting to see victory on the horizon now, and if it comes to fruition, they got to give a game ball to the front 7. Defensive line has taken charge and controlled this game. Face a challenge of stopping this opposing offense, and they've done so with ease.
And he's brought down. Can't do anything with a football. It's a sack and a turnover on downs. They'll try to eat some clock with Mixon. And he'll scratch out only about a yard up to the 32. He's going to get it again. Just looking to get forward and protect the ball. And now we'll see a timeout used on defense as they stop it right out of the break with 1:57 to go in the ball game. Now this is a big third down, and you'd have to think we'd see a timeout right away if they can't stop him here. And Stroud now to throw. And they get him down, but not before he takes it across the 40-yard line. Now the Seahawks call the second of their 3 timeouts, and they'll be disappointed to have to burn one there after giving up the first down. Mixing up the middle. And they'll get him down after a pickup of 8, 2nd and 2. Now the Seahawks forced to use their 3rd and final timeout as they'll talk things over prior to this upcoming 2nd down play. Again, it's Mixon. And he's up across midfield and down into Seattle territory. They got 2 of the 3 they needed there. It leaves them with 3rd and just a yard. But not much on that run, Charles.
No, that's exactly the way to execute a run blitz there. They guessed correctly that they would move the ball on the ground, honed in on it, and stopped them. Mark that down for a win in the defense's column.
And they'll go play action here with Stroud. He'll buy some time right. And he's going to lose a yard or 2. Taken down behind the line. Uchenna and Nwosu got the sack there.
Brandon, that's just football 101. If you're out of the pocket, you've got to get rid of the football in this situation. You cannot take a sack in a 2-minute drill.
The Texans send the punter out. He'll boot it away from about his 35. This is away, but boy, headed straight for the sidelines. And no return possible here as they angle this one out of bounds. Here's 1st and 10. Here's Darnold. To the sideline and incomplete.
A lot of practice time, a lot of thinking goes into 2-minute drills, even on the defensive side. So now you want to make sure the guys understand. Continue to be aggressive, but make sure you're smart in doing so.
Here comes 2nd down. Now Darnold. The throw here right sideline falls incomplete.
They have to like what they've done defensively here at the outset of this drive. They forced a couple of incomplete passes, bring up a 3rd and 10. Don't be surprised to bring a little pressure on this snap.
This definitely 4-down territory at this point, but a critical 3rd down here. Darnold. That's to the right sideline, and it falls incomplete.
And now defensively in the 2-minute drill, the big key to me, make sure you understand your assignments, and anytime you get a chance to tackle someone in bounds, get them on the ground.
No choice but to go. Here's 4th down now. One last throw now for Darnold. Gets this to Fant. And they get him down, but not before he takes it across the 40-yard line. A higher scoring game, Charles, than we typically see in the National Football League, but fun to watch these offenses. They were really clicking. It seemed like everything that they dialed up worked.
Yeah, it certainly was fun to watch from our perspective. How'd you like to be those defensive coaches, though? That wasn't a blast for them at all. And let's face it, they all game plan, they all scout, they all think they're prepared. But executing and stopping teams, that's another matter entirely.
So that'll do it for us. For my partner, Charles Davis, and all the hard-working men and women on our crew, I'm Brandon Gaudin. You've been watching the NFL right here on EA Sports. With that, we say good night from Seattle.